Today's episode is brought to you by the Western Extension Risk Management Education Center, USDA NIFA, and the University of Hawaii College of Tropical Agriculture and Human Resources, and the Livestock Extension Group.
Aloha, welcome everyone to the Livestock Walaʻau, a podcast aimed to provide educational support, information, guidance, and outreach to our livestock stakeholders in Hawaii. We are your hosts, Mele Oshiro and
Shannon Sand.
So today we are going to discuss some different software options for financial record keeping. But before we do that, I just want to give everyone a quick update for UH things. I guess we're saying it has changed, but not really changed, because basically we're just going to make sure we tell everybody again, if you're going to come to our offices, please call ahead to ensure that you're able to visit the offices. Things just change pretty quickly. So make sure you call ahead before visiting any of the offices. There is a little bit of a procedure. If you spend more than 15 minutes at the office, there are some check-in procedures that you have to go through. So if you are planning to visit the office for any reason, or any of the research stations, just call ahead and make sure you don't need to have any other check-in procedures or whatnot done.
Or documentation, things like that. What all needs to happen if you're coming on.
Yeah. So just make sure you check about that. So I will let Shannon take it away so she can start to discuss a little bit about the software that's out there for record keeping.
So hopefully we're just going to kind of have a general discussion. I'm going to attempt to include Mele in this to the best of my ability, but also hopefully keep it kind of short and talk about some differences and similarities. I'm going to mostly focus on Quicken and QuickBooks, but I am briefly going to mention EasyFarm, which is a specifically farmer ranch related financial record keeping software that also does a little bit of inventory tracking as well. And I'm going to also briefly mention that obviously Quicken and QuickBooks are great, but you can always use Excel, and you can also use pen and paper or calendars, which we'll have a whole episode kind of talking about how to keep track of your records and stuff using calendars or notebooks and stuff. At least with a mini one, because these are short. So, you know, yeah. So, but the nice thing about using software to keep track of your financial records and inventory, which Mele's going to do a whole little mini episode, I think, related to some inventory tracking options and things like that. But you can keep track of things like your number of head, fencing, supplies, average number of eggs laid, the cost of like how much feed you put into that chicken coop. I'm thinking of Mele because of her chicken. It's clearly right now. But things like that. And so honestly, record keeping software is just really handy for it. There are some really great ones. Many moons ago, well, not many, but like 2 years ago, I did some work on looking at the differences between Quicken and QuickBooks. Some of this stuff has changed a little now in that all of them support online features. QuickBooks has a really cool app nowadays that they launched, I want to say right before the pandemic, or like a year before that even, that is just so handy. Like you can snap pictures of your receipts and you can upload them, and so it's just super handy.
I'm gonna interrupt you real quick, but I'm just gonna shoot some questions to you because it's probably just ask you some questions about it. But so I'm one of those that go through like, I want everything on my phone. I want everything on my iPad. I want everything on my computer, so it'll drive. Are you able to do that with these apps, with this software?
With QuickBooks, with Quicken, I don't know, because so Quicken, QuickBooks, and maybe you've heard of Mint, which is like a personal finance software, and it's free. It's all owned by Intuit. They're all owned by the same company. And they're just kind of designed for different people and different things, different needs, if that makes sense.
Yep.
So I kind of think of Quicken as like a nice starter one. So if you're like a sole proprietorship, or if you're the only one worrying about kind of your business, and you can even use it for individuals like household expenses, which is really nice. It's very much like the checkbook type of app.
Yeah, I'm familiar with Mint, and I use Mint for a lot of my stuff, and I like it because it'll start to categorize purchases. Yeah. So that's a good one. And I did see that there was a link for it. Yeah. That you can, I think you can link it up to like QuickBooks or something like that.
Yeah, so Quicken it does have an app. I know QuickBooks does because QuickBooks is one of the really popular ones, particularly like so if you have a few different employees or people on the road. So I know that people oftentimes will use it like to track their expenses. It's really nice because it can all be related to the same account. Again, depending on which version of QuickBooks you get because there's a lot of versions of QuickBooks. That's one thing I would say. Quicken, I think it's just like regular, and there's a lot fewer versions of Quicken um, out there. But QuickBooks, I mean, it's got stuff for contractors. It's got stuff for just the like a general small business, which does actually have an agricultural option, which is really nice
Oh,
because
that's
it
good.
does do the categorizing thing, and it will like start pre-populating your Schedule F, which is like real exciting.
That's cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, a lot of them have similar features, but some of them are definitely different. Quicken has a retirement planning option where QuickBooks generally, all the ones I'm familiar with, all the versions of QuickBooks I know of do not. Like I said, Quicken is definitely more towards like individual small business planning,
Mhm.
things like that, which is great. Um, QuickBooks has also got small business options too, but just what I would say is a slightly larger small business option, if that makes sense. So it can do like it can track employee time, which is important, especially here we have a lot of day laborers. It can tell you kind of it's really smart to be honest, all these softwares. They can tell you when you need to send out 1099. Some of that stuff's really nice and very handy to have. So they both track accounts payable and reimbursable. They will both monitor unpaid invoices, which is always nice because we all like to get paid. And they both can create an estimates and invoices, and they both can kind of like mark things like if it's a tax deduction again, which is nice. So they're both fairly user friendly. Again, I would say that like Quicken is really nice to start out, but QuickBooks is the one that a lot of small businesses use. So
Yeah.
and it's one that like I think like 90 to 95% of accountants use QuickBooks versus Peachtree. So those two are generally the ones that are used most of the time.
Mhm.
So
Are there free versions of this or is it always a paid version?
I do believe that you can do like free trials, but
Mhm.
they are paid. I will say Quicken is the least it's the most cost effective one. EasyFarm, I think last I checked, I want to say is between 400 and 600. That one you can't get on your phone unless you're like running the app from the website, which can it can be tricky at
Right.
times and stuff. But it's definitely more of like a downloadable like PC option. Last I checked. Uh, Quicken is generally you can find it generally between 40 and like 120, depending on which version you get, which is always really nice. There are also subscription options now, so monthly. QuickBooks is generally between 180 and like 500, $600, depending on which one you get. You can get a monthly subscription of that one. I want to say $12, but I think it's really 20 or 25 to kind of get like a pretty solid base model. And QuickBooks and Quicken, they're both pretty powerful. Like I said, they just do slightly different things. So like QuickBooks will keep track of time if you have employers.
Right.
Um, QuickBooks is more easy to integrate with Word, Excel, and Outlook. Quicken doesn't have those options. So if you keep track of your inventory in Excel, you can integrate that. You can integrate the two between them. So they're really nice. QuickBooks has tons and tons of financial reports. So if you're trying to do forecasting, if you're trying to get loans, or even if you're trying to get grants or investors, QuickBooks is a really nice one in that you can just literally beep boop bop beep boop and pull reports,
Mhm.
so that's really nice. And there are all kinds of like I think there's last I checked there's thousands of reports and there are several that are geared specifically for ag. So I mean they're both nice. I've taught both, I teach both. Um yeah, I mean they're both it just depends on what you're looking to do.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So I mean they're great. If anyone has any questions about kind of the differences, similarities, feel free
Mhm.
to like shoot me an email. Um, they're really nice because they both have those, like you said, the app options, which I agree.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I want to keep track of it. And it's nice because you have a partner in crime And so like if your partner is buying, let's say chicken food, again, I'm sorry, I'm just going to pick on Melly because she's here. Even if it's not in real life for me, virtually. But like, so your partner goes and picks up chicken feed, right? So he can scan the receipt into an app, either Quicken or QuickBooks, either one, depending again on your needs. And it's automatically uploaded. And he, based on how your categories are set up, you just put it in there and it goes into like your tax write-offs.
Right.
And it also takes it off. Like if you guys have a shared checking account, it just keeps track of all that stuff. It's so handy.
Yeah.
I
That
mean,
sounds like it's very integrated into everything, right? So that could help. Cool.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. So you mentioned the other one, EasyFarm. That's a new one I've never heard of. So what's the big differences between EasyFarm and like Quicken and QuickBooks kind of seem to have a little bit of similar software and applicability, I guess to say. But what's the difference between EasyFarm then?
So EasyFarm, the easiest way to describe it is it is specifically geared for ag.
Oh, okay.
So it is specifically a farm accountant and management software. It's created by a company called Vertical Solutions, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know when the last update on it is, but it is really nice because it's very specifically farm and like ranch focused. It's an ag specific software. And there's another one, but I can't remember the name of it right now.
Yeah, I'm sure there's a lot, right, of different apps out there. It's just a matter of finding the one that fits and suits your
yeah. I mean, the thing with the EasyFarm is it's about $509. It's very nice because it comes preset with a lot of standardized charts of accounts related to the farm or ranch. But because we're Hawaii, you're gonna have to adjust it as obviously.
Right.
I will say QuickBooks actually also has an ag option. Like when you go in and you set up your chart of accounts.
Mm-hmm.
So your chart of accounts are just like literally like the accounts, like you were saying, like what you like mark things as or category. Well, they're different, but for the purposes of this conversation, we're going to say they're similar. So QuickBooks does have an option for ag. They are populated slightly differently. I've briefly used EasyFarms, but like I said, it also starts out at like $509.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, they're all expensive though, or they all have some sort of cost, but and it depends on what you're looking for.
Right.
So, but it's nice because like if you have livestock or dairy, they do have specific stuff related to that. So yeah, it's nice.
Cool. Thanks for sharing that, Shannon. So other things we have to look forward to coming up this month is our next month's guest speaker is from the NRCS, or the Natural Resource Conservation Service in Kamuela. Her name is Carolyn Wong of Aloha, and she's a grazing land specialist with them there. So we'll be talking with her about grazing management and pasture management and all kinds of other stuff, the programs that they offer and whatnot. So join us next month to listen in and hear what Carolyn has to share. And lastly, of course, our National Livestock Days in October. So we know that this is not actual like livestock days, but it's also just the products that livestock, that we get from our livestock, right? The proteins and whatnot. And we celebrate those dishes or things that can be made with these different livestock products. So October 4th is National Taco Day. So get creative. I mean, there's so many different, types of proteins you can use there to make tacos. Gosh, Our National Sausage Pizza Day is October 11th. So once again, visit your local butcher shop, Waimea Butchery. Get some locally made sausage. Kaunamano Farms is another one you can get local sausage from, and create a pizza, or just visit a local pizza
place too. Yeah.
Get some pizza there. October 12th, National Farmers Day. It's
really important.
Yeah, that very important day. Celebrate our farmers out there.
Yes.
And National Gumbo Day.
Love gumbo.
Yeah.
Seafood.
And it's also Shannon's birthday, October 12th. Happy birthday to you. I won't sing. I won't put everybody through that. October 16th is our World Food Day, which I think is extremely important, right? We all want to ensure the sustainability of those types across the world. So celebrate October 16th. Be thankful and appreciate where all your food comes from. And October 26th, National Chicken Fried Steak Day.
Yes.
We're definitely going to have to do that for sure.
Yes.
That day. Yeah. So, yeah. And
I was like, the German in me just wants to come like cook schnitzel for you.
Yeah.
That's so good. I was like, we'll just do like a beef version.
Yeah. We'll have to see what our restrictions are going to let us do, but maybe we can actually celebrate that day.
Oh, who knows? Probably not.
Yeah.
We'll hope for the best.
Yes. Yes. Well, thanks, Shannon, for sharing about the software programs available out there, at least some of them that's out there. And as Shannon said, please reach out if you guys have questions about those different programs.
Yeah.
Or if you would like us to maybe do a tutorial on those programs, we could, even do that kind of thing.
Even if it's just a basic like starting setup, just let us know. We're happy to do that and stuff. And So yes. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure to join our Facebook page, the Livestock Extension Group, if you haven't already. Be sure to visit the CTAHR Extension website and our YouTube channel listed below in the show notes.
For additional information about this or any other topics or comments, send us an email at walaʻau@hawaii.edu. And thanks again for listening to Livestock Walaʻau.
Before we go, show some love for your favorite podcast. That's us, by the way. By leaving us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you're listening to this, then stay tuned for next month.
And thanks again to our sponsors, the Western Extension Risk Management Education Center, USDA NIFA, the Livestock Extension Group, and CTAHR. Ahui ho, and thanks for listening.